Today is my last day in Amsterdam. I'll be heading back to the United States tomorrow. Yesterday I went to the Vincent van Gogh Museum. It was beautiful, but it was overwhelming. I will say if you're going, I would get the audio tour. That helped a lot because I think there were so many things, because you have to even think about, I didn't know this. There were a couple things I learned at this museum, which is good. That should be the outcome of going to a museum. One, Vincent van Gogh did not start painting till he was 27. Like that's when he decided to make that his career. He had been like a minister because his dad was a pastor, I think, or a preacher. He had been a minister until he was 27, and then he decided to be a painter. They really don't talk about his mental illness until I think he was like 32. So I don't know if that was always there and it just progressed, but these were all things like I just always thought he painted. I always thought he dealt with mental illness, but they really don't speak about it till his late 20s, early 30s when he becomes an artist. One theme I've also seen that's really interesting is my dad had sent me a video the other day that talked about like quarter life crisis and what all these 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds are going through. Because the lady in the video said she was 27 when she went back to school. I met a guy named Loren back in Rotterdam at King Hong Hostels, and I want to say he's in his late 30s, early 40s, he told me, but he was 27 when he switched from being an accountant to like security bodyguard working for the United States, which like huge switch, but he did it at 27. And then I went to Van Gogh Museum yesterday and they said he didn't start painting like as a job until he was 27. And it's interesting being a 27-year-old, listening to people kind of confirm what I've been feeling, because in the United States, this is something culturally that's very different. Here, a lot of times people will take 1 to 2 years off between high school and college or college and career, and they will travel, and that's very normal for them. Also, a lot of European countries have a 1 month vacation guaranteed from the start. And in the United States, we just do not have that. And I think there's a lot more ability here to have downtime, to relax, to reconsider what you want in your life. Versus in the United States, I was sitting miserable in a job and I was basically told that that's corporate. Like you just keep going, you keep pushing on. And it's really interesting how the culture here is so different. And it's like, no, you don't keep pushing on. You reconsider and you revamp your life and you make changes, and that's natural. So I think it's very American and very corporate and probably also capitalist to continue on and to push forward and do all these amazing things for this one company and show your loyalty. And like if you have a great job doing that and you like your work, I'm not downing you at all. Just for me, it wasn't working. So it's interesting coming to another country with a very different culture and a very different mindset and almost have my concerns and my thoughts be legitimized by other people and be like, yeah, this was the age where I started over. Or yeah, I didn't even become, well, Van Gogh didn't even become famous after his death. So when he was 37, 38 years old, well, he never made it to 38, but it would have been 38. So it's interesting that we're so, like the stuff we care about in the United States is so different from here. And I'm sure I'll find that more and more as I travel, but it is very interesting being out of that bubble for 2 weeks. I really thought I'd be like stressing right now about money, or I'd be stressing about, being unemployed or feeling like a loser or whatever. But like here, I just don't feel that. That's not in the culture here. Like you take time and you consider what you want for your life and you don't rush things. And I'm like, I'm taking that home. I don't care if anybody else feels that. Like I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna do what I need to do. And it's just been so nice. I will say I am looking forward to getting home and having some privacy, some quiet time, really taking time to actually sit down and figure out like who I am right now. I know my friend Marcus had suggested that months ago when we met, like a month or two ago. He was like, you're about to go into a very different season of life. You need to decide like what you stand for, what you believe in, what you like, what you enjoy, like who you are, because the things that you used to do and the people who follow you now like online are looking for you to be this person you were a year, 2, 5 years ago. And he's like, that's just not who you are. So you need to go forward and figure out who you are now at 27, revamp your life, revamp your content. And so I do look forward to doing that when I get home. I wanted to talk about some things that I've learned, experiences I've had here, things I've noticed that are different culturally here from the United States. Some major things I've noticed that are different are the way that people interact with one another. I know when I first got here, Ani had said that the way people interact with you, they're never rude, but they also don't sugarcoat things. And so what I was expecting and what I got was very different. And I have two examples I can give that to me were frustrating as an American, because at least in Minnesota, speaking from experience, not only, you know, being someone who's lived there their whole life, but also someone who's worked in Minnesota too, and like been in like the food or the retail industry, how I would resolve an issue versus how it was resolved here were very different. The first one is I was trying to send out postcards a couple days ago, and the way that they address things here is very differently than they address things in the United States. So I was looking it up online, like how do you address a postcard, you know, in Europe so that it gets to the right place. And I had done it, and I went to the post office and I was asking the lady, does this look right? And she goes, I don't know, I'm not American. And that was like the first time. It was just like a little, it wasn't rude, it was just a little jarring, because I was like, well, I can't be the first American who's come in here asking questions. Like, I hate feeling like I'm stupid. I hate feeling like someone is treating me like I'm dumb. And both of these, I don't think that was their goal, but that was like the outcome of it, is they made me feel really unintelligent when really there's just stuff I don't know, because they do stuff differently here. The other one was I was on the metro, and I asked this one day, like one of the first days I was here by myself, and then I've seen like one person at least every single day ask this to a metro worker. Like, this is someone who works within the train system, I guess I will say. I know that trains and metros are different, but they're like within the automobile that's a movie. They're within the metro that is on the track. They're there the whole day. And I asked this, and other people asked this. We said, where can we get off? Because our tickets had expired for the metro. So we're like, okay, where do we get off to get new tickets? And every single time, the answer was like, I don't know, there's thousands of trains. I don't know, it's a big system. Like, you just get off on one of them and figure it out, basically. Number one, I can't be the first American asking this. Number two, there are people from all over the world who are writing these things asking the same question. And number three, this system has been in place for a very long time. So you would think that someone would have created a map where it has like a highlighted where people can get tickets. So there's things like that where culturally they're just a lot more direct. Whereas like in the United States, when I was working any job really that I've had, my goal would be to please the customer, and I don't think they have that here. It's kind of a figure it out yourself type of deal, and that's honky-dory until you're trying to like just get a postcard sent to a family member and you don't know if it's gonna make it because no one will help you. Or you're trying to go with the system of the metro and do things the right way and the honest way, and no one will help you. So that was culturally the most jarring thing for me to go through, like relationally with people. The other thing I knew to expect, but that was weird, is the red light district. And I wanna clarify this because I kept kind of asking people this and no one really answered me. The red light district is not like the full district is full of like brothels. It is 2 streets for like 2 or 3 blocks. And they have red lights at the end, so you know that if you don't want to go down those streets, you don't have to go down them. But there's a lot of other things to do in those areas, a lot of places to eat. There's a lot of tourist stuff. If you're looking more for like a tourist place to go, but you don't want to actually go experience the red light district, which, I mean, I really didn't either, but I had a roommate who wanted to try it because she was from South Korea, and she was like, we're so conservative there, I want to see what it's like here. So I went with her, but thankfully it was like 5 p.m. and there really wasn't much to see at 5 p.m. and I was so grateful because I didn't even want to go in the first place. But it is really interesting that they allow that here, and I think they allow it because I was asking Ani about this. I said, how is that like legal? And I guess it's legal here because girls can leave if they want to. That's kind of the idea, is that these women aren't, like, they're not trafficked or they're not trapped into doing this work. They choose to, But there's still like a moral compass with that that's bothersome to me, because I think you have to be at a certain point in your life in a certain mindset where like you're just trying to survive. I guess I view it like I do when I talk about who makes our clothing, right? Like there are women in other countries and they can leave the factories if they want to, but it's like this factory has overtaken their town, and a lot of them are not being paid a livable wage. They're not going to survive, so this is like their option. And to me, that's just not a good enough option, and that's not a good enough answer. And I feel the same way about the red light district here. I just feel like that's not a good solution. It brings in tourism, but is, you know, at what cost? I'm just glad I wasn't there in like the height of it during the nighttime or during the afternoon. I'm glad it was kind of a downtime, and I didn't, there's so many things I just didn't want to see, but I also feel like it's good to see stuff like that, because then it's really eye-opening to not only how grateful you are for your life, makes you churn through some thoughts about the culture of an area. It gives you just a new perspective, and I don't know. I wouldn't recommend going because I just don't think you need to, but at the same time, there is something that happens when you go to a place where people are in positions like that, and it really helps you learn more about yourself and about where you come from and why you feel the way you feel about that experience. Some basic things just to finish this video that I would run down if you're coming to. Hello, sir. You can come in.
Hello.
Sorry, one of my roommates just came in. I wanted to finish by doing a quick rundown of things that I would, like just random things that I noticed while I'm here that might be helpful if you're coming over. And again, I don't know if this is all of Europe. I've only been to Ireland and now the Netherlands, so I can't speak for a majority of Europe and what it's like, but this is what I found to be true here. If you see something that says, it'll either say toilettes, like French, or it'll say WC, like water closet. Those are both signs for a bathroom. If you see feed me signs, I found that there are feed me signs for cigarette areas. There's literally pits in the street that they've created, and it says feed me. And if you're a smoker, you can drop your cigarette in there, and it's like a big old ashtray in the middle of the street. Also, they have them for women's sanitary products, for like period products in the bathroom. So I've seen that, and I feel like we obviously have trash cans and things in public bathrooms, but it is just different. I like the little characters that they use. I think they're funny. They have a lot of things for people who are blind. I find that really interesting, and I would love to know if you are someone who has vision impairment. They have these like raised circles on the steps that I believe are for people if they're trying to get down the stairs and they're blind, because I noticed that they have escalators going up at metro stations, but they don't have escalators going down, and I find that very odd, especially if you're trying to be accessible to people who have different needs. But they might, you know, I just said that, and they might have lifts, which are like elevators. They might have lifts here. The other thing I've noticed is if you are looking for trying to get out of a place, there are signs that'll say INGANG, that's like in gang, I think is how you say it. So basically it's like ingoing. And then there's UITGANG, which is like outgang, which is outgoing. I don't know if that's exactly how they translate. That's just how I remember it. And then they also have signs that'll say like station shawl or station lobby. And that's a good way to go too. So if you see a green sign with an arrow and like people walking out, that's usually the sign that you will follow in order to get out of a place or to find an exit, because that is something that I didn't know. Like I would have never known that station shawl meant exit, or, you know, ingang or outgang like meant ingoing or outgoing, or like in or out. Oh, the street signs. So in the United States, we have a post on a corner and it'll have a street sign. And here you look at the sides of a building. So if you're on a corner, you look at the two corners of buildings to figure out where your streets are. That's where the signs are. And I thought that was different too, because when I was trying to navigate the first couple days and get my hand at it when Ani was here, I like kept forgetting that they're on the buildings. They're not on a pole on the street corner. I'm sure there's a million other things I could think of. Those were just starter points, like basics for people. The other thing that I would say to do is download an offline Google map. That was like a lifesaver, especially when I would get turned around somewhere, because every single day I sit and I create a plan and I do screenshots of like, go on this metro and then head to this place and then you'll be there and then you can go here. And that's been helpful for planning my day. But I will say, there were times where I would get off the metro and I would go, I have no idea where this place is. I don't know which direction to go. And I would just pull up the Google map. I would type it in and it's already been downloaded onto my phone. So because I wasn't using data or Wi-Fi or, I was on airplane mode, I could still use my map. So I would really highly recommend downloading offline maps so that you can use that to your advantage and use it while you're out and about in the city. The other thing too, I would say if you're coming to Amsterdam at least, is do the I Am City card. If you're a first time visitor, the I Am City card, I wanna say it was like $120 or $30, which sounds expensive, but let me tell you what you get. You get access to a majority of the museums, you get a boat canal tour, you also get unlimited metro for the amount of days that you choose. That's part of it too, the price. Like I chose a 5-day one and that worked for the first couple days as my metro card. And it was something that would be scanned when I would go into a museum or do the canal tour, things like that. And it was just like a pass, because when you think about it, most of the museums here are anywhere from 15 to 40 euros basically. So if you go to 3 museums, that's 120 euros that you've already spent. And then you're looking at buying a 4-day pass for the metro is almost $30 on its own. So things like that are really helpful. Tips like that, having apps to just be able to be a little more price sensitive while you're here. Get the Google Translate app, get the language that you're going to predominantly have to interact with to the language that you know. So for me, it was Dutch to English. So I would go into a grocery store, I would put my phone up in front of an item, I would take a picture and it would translate it for me. So I understood what I'm ordering, what I'm eating, what a sign says, what directions are giving me where to go. That was so helpful. And you have to do all these things, like download them when you have Wi-Fi. So if you're not gonna have Wi-Fi the whole time you're in another country, like do it before you leave in the airport. Otherwise, do it at a hostel or a place where you have Wi-Fi access. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. And also don't forget to watch my other travel vlogs. The ones I've done the last year, I'm extremely proud of. I think my skills are just growing and getting better. I think my ability to film in public and my comfort with that is just getting better. And I feel like it's reflected in the confidence of the vlogs. And so I hope you guys really enjoy those other videos. Let me know if you guys are a solo traveler, especially if you're a solo female traveler. Like either DM me on Instagram, my stuff will be linked, my social media will be linked in the caption below, or like just reach out in the comments and let me know, because I'd love to get connected with other solo female travelers and really create like a community around traveling, because us girls, we gotta stick together. Like it's sometimes brutal out there, like it's tough. So let me know if you are a solo female traveler in the comments below, or let me know if you ever come to the Netherlands and what you enjoyed or what you found different, or vice versa. If you're someone from the Netherlands who's come to the United States, what stood out to you? I'll see you guys in the next video.